Hi, this is Mark from graduatejobtips.com, and I actually have a very special guest with me today. That is David E. Perry, and he comes over from Ottawa on Skype. So thanks very much for joining me today, David.
Greetings from the colonies. Or four colonies. No, I guess we still are.
Yeah. Well, I'm from a colony originally, so. David is what's considered a recruitment guru. He's been in the recruitment industry for many years, and he is co-author of the book Guerrilla Marketing for Job Hunters, which I have with me right now, over there. Fantastic book. I've read this one, which, as you saw now, the white one, is the new edition. It's actually called Guerrilla Marketing for Job Hunters 3.0. And I've read the predecessor as well, which is called Guerrilla Marketing for Job Hunters. In addition to that, David has also written another book called Career Guide for the High-Tech Professional and has been dubbed the Rogue Recruiter by the Wall Street Journal, and is also managing director of Perry Martell International, one of North America's leading placement and recruitment firms. So, David, to start off with, for those people who haven't read the book and have never heard of this term, a guerrilla job hunter, what is a guerrilla job hunter?
Well, guerrilla marketing is very simple. Guerrilla marketing is where you go and achieve conventional results with unconventional means. And to put that very simply, you zig when everybody else is zagging. That's what guerrilla marketing is about. For job hunters, it's all about how do you get in the face of an employer easily and bypass some of the system which has really been set up to, screw you over. I'll give you an example. My niece went to school to become a nurse. I only found this out last week. My niece went to school to become a nurse, graduated, went down to the local hospital, went into the HR department, applied for a job, and they said, "Thank you very much, little girl. We have no interest. We have no openings. We'll call you." So Sarah went back home and sat down and said, how can I get in the face of the CEO? Now, this is a 22-year-old new grad and the CEO of a major hospital. So she sat down and said, how can I do that? So Sarah is also the winner of 3 Battle of the Bands contests, a great singer and a good composer and a great guitar player, electric guitar player. So she sat down and she wrote a song. And then she sat in front of her video camera and she recorded it. And then she sent it to the CEO. And the song went viral inside the hospital. And the order came down from on high, interview this girl. Now, I haven't talked to Sarah. I found this out from my father just a couple of days ago. But she didn't even get halfway through the interview before they made her an offer. So that's guerrilla marketing. My sister, 10 years ago, graduated as a teacher, and after 2 years' experience, wanted to got the opportunity, along with 455 other teachers, to apply for a kindergarten position, which are plum positions. And so she calls me up and she says, what do I do? How do I apply for this? I said, well, Monica, sit down, and you gotta sit down and do some studying. You really have to know them and their system better than they know it themselves. She said, well, what do I ask them? I said, well, just sit down and we came up with 5 or 6 questions. Anyway, long story short, goes in and has the interview. I hear back from her the next day and I said, how'd it go? She says, not really sure. I said, well, what did they ask you? She said, well, not much really. I said, well, how long were you there? She said, maybe 8.5 hours. I said, what? What happened? And she said, well, I did what you said. We sat down and I said to them, excuse me, I'm a little nervous. So would you mind if I just ask you a couple of quick questions to orientate myself so that, I know what to bring up and what to talk about? And they said, certainly. So the first question out of her mouth was, how do you, I can't remember the exact words, but how does your policy on such and such affect how you're driving the organization the last 3 years, and what does it mean for the future? So the interview never happened. What they had was a discussion. They had a discussion right there for 8.5 hours. Monica said they had to break and bring lunch in. So she said, did I blow it? And I'm starting to laugh. She says, did I blow it? I said, I don't think so. She said, do you think they'll ever call me back? I said, yeah, they'll call you back, Monica.
Yeah.
I said, I think they'll call you back. And they called her back 3 days later. They stopped the interviews. She was the youngest kindergarten teacher ever hired in that province.
Wow.
They stopped all the other interviews. And if you arm yourself with the right questions to ask about what's happening at the organization, and you do whatever you can to line up your experience, however trivial it may seem. It's not. Because absolutely everybody has graduated sometime.
Yes.
And we all know this. So everyone every year looks forward to the new set of grads because we're looking for fresh blood. We're looking for ideas. And that's just a universal truism.
Yeah.
So I took you way off topic, and
No,
I
that's fine.
apologize for that. But I
Yeah.
just wanted to let everybody know that if you're thinking, I just graduated, I can't find a job, it's probably because you're doing it wrong.
I read both books, as I said, and obviously the profound difference for me was that the first book was a bit more traditional in a sense, and the latest edition has a much greater focus on the web and in particular social media, of course, and that is very relevant. And at the beginning, in the first chapter, you cite your daughter as somebody who managed to get herself a job through Facebook ads. Can you tell
Yeah.
us a little bit more how that happened?
Yeah, I'll answer that question, and then I'll tell you why I had, because Krista, that was my oldest.
Okay.
Um, when she did this, I sat down and said, okay, I gotta update the book.
Yeah.
Right. So the first book came out in 2005. The second book came out in 2009. This one came out in 2011. Only 2 years difference. So what Krista did was she called me one night. Actually, it was one afternoon. I'm in Chicago and I'm flying back. I'm getting on the plane and I get this text message from Krista and it says, "Dad, gotta do a social media project. Gotta find an internship for the summer. Help." So I text back, okay, so, I understand what you're doing. Pick your top 10 companies and let me know. So I get on the plane and I said, pick your top 10 companies and then write an advertisement for Facebook. So I get on the plane, I land in Philadelphia because, you can't go from Detroit to Ottawa. Can't go from anywhere to Ottawa. So Detroit to Philadelphia to Ottawa. So I'm in Philadelphia, get off the plane. BlackBerry goes off again. Says Krista, she says, pick the top 10 and the Facebook ad is ready to go. I said, okay, fine. She said, just need your credit card, Dad. I said, fine. Here's the credit card number. Here's the password. And I said, oh, and by the way, don't spend more than $10. Put a cap on it because you never know what's going to happen, right? And I said, I'll see you later. They're calling my plane. Get back on the plane. And when I arrive in Ottawa, phone goes off again, right? And it's Krista. She says, it worked. And I said, what worked? She said, got 2 hits. I said, not possible. She says, no. Friend of mine. So what she did was she did an email. She did 2 things. She did an email chain letter and a targeted Facebook campaign. And the targeted Facebook campaign, we talk about in the book, but the targeted Facebook campaign is really simple. She targeted all the people at an executive level inside the 10 organizations she wanted to work for. And then she did a targeted email chain letter. So she sent a note out to 10 people that she knew saying, here are the 10 organizations I want to work for. Here's what I've done in the past that makes me qualified for a summer internship. Can you pass it on to 10 people you know? Oh, and by the way, if you know anybody that works there now or used to work there, can you let me know? Because I'd like to talk to them. So 2 things go off simultaneously. Anyway, it was she was in and out of the program in under 48 hours. This all happened without ever reading, never met a career counselor because I'm just Dad, right? Never met a career counselor, never read an ad, never applied for a job. She just targeted the 10 companies she wanted to work for and reached out to them. And that's the reason I wrote the 3rd book. This is the discussion I had in Detroit the day my daughter called.
Yeah.
I'm standing in Detroit and I said, how many exhaust systems engineers are there in Detroit? And we went around the room and I guess we ended up with 5,000. And I said, how many in the room? There's like 7 of them.
Yeah.
I said, guess how many jobs there are for exhaust systems engineers in Detroit? There's 600 people in the audience, and they assured me there wasn't one single job.
Okay.
Not one single job. But that morning I had done a Google search and a Twitter search, and I had found on Google there were 26 jobs, and on Twitter there were 18, something like that. I can't remember the exact numbers.
Okay.
And I said to them, listen, if I exhaust systems engineers, hold your hands up. I said, if I went looking for you on LinkedIn, would I find you? I said, keep your hands up if I'd find you. All the hands come down. I said, that's my point. So, recruiters are using digital tools to reach out and talk to the 6 best qualified people. So if they're using those tools, shouldn't you be using them to make sure that they find you? That was the whole day of the discussion. So when I realized that that had gone missed by this group that's like way smarter than me. I said, okay, we got to do the third book. So
If you were to sort of pick out one mistake that you see that is commonly made amongst job hunters, what is that?
they apply for jobs. You want to get hired? Want to get a
Okay.
job? Stop applying for jobs. Stop
And
applying
as
for
you said in the
jobs.
book, be found.
Be
Be found
found.
online.
Stop applying for jobs. Start applying to companies.
Okay.
Pick the 10 companies you want to work for. Do some research, and we make it really easy, right? We talk about it and I think I use the term in the book. I can't remember, but it's called guerrilla networking, or I call it networking with the newly departed.
Right.
The problem with traditional networking is very simple. If you don't have a network, you're kind of behind the eight ball, right? When you need a job, that's no time to build a network. So if you don't have a network, that's a problem. But if a lot of people are looking, then that means a lot of people are using that network and they're calling you, right? Well, people get tired after a while. They just don't take the calls. They just left in voicemail. And anyone that's called a bunch of people they know trying to do a networking call and they haven't had their call return, don't take it personally. It's not you. It's just the system. So here's a better way to do it. Pick those top 10 companies.
Yeah.
Then go on Google and let's say you want to be a graphic design artist inside a company in London. Pick a company for me, Mark.
Yeah. Now, let's say Yahoo, for instance.
Okay, you want to work at Yahoo and you want to work as a new grad in marketing in Yahoo. So all you do is you go to Yahoo and you type Vice President Marketing, UK. Boom. And that tells in resume, that tells Google to go and fetch all the resumes out there on the internet
Right.
that has Yahoo and Vice President and Marketing. Somewhere in there you will find either the current or a former VP of Marketing or Director of Marketing that used to work at Yahoo. And that's what you want. You want someone that used to work there. So you pick up the phone and say, hi, my name is Mark, and we don't know each other, but I'm doing some research, and I see that you used to work at Yahoo in marketing. Do you mind if I ask you a couple of quick questions?
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, people will say, what do you want to know? Who are you? What are you doing? So you explain it to them, and you start to ask them questions. The reason you do that is because if you want to get in the face of an employer, you're only going to have so much of their time. You need to tell them exactly what you can do for them. But the catch-22 is, unless you can meet them, you don't know what their issues are that you can solve, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
true.
if you network with the newly departed and you say, what are the 3 biggest issues the company's facing in that department, they're going to tell you. So you gather your information that way. So when you do your resume and when you do your cover letter and you send it off to the VP of marketing, and you say, Sally, my name is, and I know you've got this problem, this problem, and this problem, and here's what I've done to solve those issues in the past. Do you have Sally's attention? Yes. Why? Because they're the 3 biggest issues she's got. She wants them solved.
Now, something that comes up quite a bit that I find is often people ask me, and I hear people sort of bringing up the question in general, and that is, when I go into a job interview, should I answer the questions 100% honestly, or should I actually be giving the answers that I want the prospective employer to hear?
So honesty is the only policy.
Yeah.
But that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is come prepared. Come prepared because you've networked with the newly departed. You know what their issues are. Come prepared to talk about what's happening in their company and what's happening in the industry and ask questions. I mean, everyone that should be watching this is just getting out of school. And I mean, I'm not that old to remember, what a Socratic question is, right?
Yes.
If you ask great questions, people, when you ask a great question, people stop and they think, wow, what a great question that is. And they automatically think you're really smart, and you probably are, but you're really smart. So when you ask great questions about their industry, and you better know the answer to them before you ask them, but you ask great questions about a person's industry, you start to have a discussion. It's not an interview. It's a discussion. The wall drops down.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter. So go with 3 to 5 really good questions that will lead the interviewer into a discussion. Guaranteed you'll be the only one that'll do it.
Right. Okay. Also, what I really liked in the book is the chapter on LinkedIn because I think I was at fault here. I didn't take LinkedIn seriously enough in the beginning. I put my profile up, but I didn't really pay too much attention to it. It was always telling me it's only 60% completed now, and I thought, what the hell? I'll leave it there. But subsequently, since reading the book, I've realized actually how important a good LinkedIn profile is. And a lot of people, I think, still out there don't really understand how to make the LinkedIn profile work and how to make themselves found on LinkedIn. So, can we just talk a little bit about how you can optimize your LinkedIn profile so that recruiters can actually find you based on your skills and work experience?
Yes. And I'm going to use an example that everybody's probably well aware of.
Yeah.
Most people download music that they like. Let's use Adele as an example because I really happen to like Adele, and I know
Oh,
she's from your side of the pond.
I agree, man. I really like
So,
her. Yeah.
so she's fantastic. So,
Yeah.
if I want to find out where I can buy an Adele album, I go to Google and I type in Adele, and then a couple of words from the song, and boom, up comes a screen of ideas, and I'll click them until I find the idea. Right?
Mm.
That's keyword searching.
Mm.
Remember the lazy recruiters?
Yeah.
They don't just do it in Google; they do it in LinkedIn as well. So the way we find you is we do keyword searches.
Right.
If the exhaust systems engineer, Detroit, up comes the list. It's the same thing. So I'm only going to tell you, because it's not in the book, and we only do this when we're doing presentations live. So I'll tell you and your audience how to do this. You ready?
Yeah.
Here's how you cheat. If you know what job you want, go and find a couple of jobs like what you want to do on Amazon or any website.
Yeah.
And take 3 or 4 of them, put them side by side, and analyze the keywords.
Yeah.
There will be similarities. Then take those keywords and put them in your LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
Because if those keywords are the same for a different profile, it's called we call it hacking monster, the monster hack.
Okay.
You take the 3 or 4 things that you want to be found for, that you're really good at, you throw them in a monster, and up come all these opportunities that use those critical skills, or use what you're really great at. So you can do the same thing with LinkedIn. You pop up the different ads, you say, project manager, and it's this and it's this. You take those out, you craft it in the front page, the summary of your LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
The other thing you want to do is, and we talk about this, and I do a keyword search, and I'm a recruiter. What's going to pop up is, depending on what kind of account I have, anywhere from 100 to 400 profiles, and they're all going to say the same thing. Sally Smith, marketing intern. Jim Donnelly, marketing intern. So you don't want to do that.
Okay.
The whole list says marketing intern. You want to say something else. You want to say something like, ask me how I saved X, or ask me how I did this as part of your tagline. Why? Because you're going to be the only one on that sheet. So they're going to hone in on you first.
And then just, once again, for my audience who are graduates and young people now looking for an entry-level job in what is a very hyper-competitive marketplace. Unemployment, even in this country, is still fairly high. It's better than other countries in Europe, but it's still fairly high. What are your 3 top, job hunting tips for those young people out there looking to land a job?
Great question. And I would say, understand what your skills are that you like to use. Yeah. There's no point going and getting a job for a skill that you can't stand using. You get it, but you can't stand using it. So pick a career and jobs that you use the skills that you like to use.
Yeah.
Make the top 10 list of employers.
Yeah.
And start applying to companies by going and networking with the newly departed. The results are incredible.
Okay.
I mean,
so you really seem to place a great focus on this networking with the newly departed. So it must obviously be something that's tried and tested, and that's why it comes up time and time again.
Well, you have to. Yes, it is. I mean, I got no end of flack when I did the first book in 2005.
Yeah.
Because I kind of gave away a recruiter's secret, right?
Yeah.
I mean, recruiters. A recruiter like me, BA in economics. What do I know about thermonuclear engineering? Nothing.
Yeah. Right.
Nothing. But if I have to hire a director in thermonuclear engineering, I better figure it out very fast. So what do I do?
Yeah.
I go and find someone that's an expert in thermonuclear engineering, and I ask them a whole bunch of questions, and all of a sudden I'm an expert.
Yep.
It's the same process. It's the exact same process. So this is how you step into an organization that you don't know anything about. This is how you step into an industry that you don't know anything about. You let other people educate you.
Okay.
It's a great way to close a time gap.
Okay. David, and just lastly, how do people get in touch with you? Obviously, where can they buy your book? And where's your where are you on the web? Your Twitter handle, your website. Let's hear that.
Well, so I'm all over the place, right? The easiest way to find more information, because there's all kinds of videos on the book's website, and they're free, and there's audios, and there's over 1,000 articles that I've written there. More than anyone's going to need to read before they get a job.
Yeah.
You go to GM, the letter G, M, the number 4, JH.com. So it's guerrilla marketing for jobbers.com, GM4JH.com.
Yeah.
That'll take you to the site, and from there you can go to LinkedIn, and in the LinkedIn group we have, you can go to Facebook, you can go to YouTube, you can find us on Twitter.
Okay, fantastic.
That's a central location.
That's great. David, thanks very much for your time.